Hi, I'm Herb Redrick, the senior pastor here at First Missionary Baptist Church. Why do I have cross eyes? Because that's the series we're in right now. The purpose is that we want you to learn how to see everything just like Jesus saw it in your home, in your work, in the community. How did Jesus see things? So join us as we go through cross eyes all year long. Again, my name is Herb Redrick. Come on in and join us. We pray you enjoy the message.
Open my eyes, Lord. Open my heart. How many of you want to open your heart to the Lord today? Amen. Come on, you can do better. Just a few of you. Just a few of you. Yeah. As we start our new series, Cross Eyes, I see some of you looking at me cross-eyed. Looking kind of strange, looking at other folks around you, looking kind of strange. But that's the whole point of it. When we look at ourselves, we really should be looking at life through cross eyes. And when you look at our world today, we're in a bad place in the world. In fact, our children are being sifted like wheat. Many of us don't even know it. We're allowing them to engage in lifestyles and activities that are going to have more harm than good just so that they can fit in. Marriages in the church alone are failing at a rate equal to or faster than out in the world. When we look around at all the things that are happening, most of the time it's hard to tell if we're believers until we come into a worship setting. And so for the next 50 weeks or 48 or 49 weeks, we're going to be looking at life through cross eyes. How do you see God? We're going to look at how you see God. How does the world see God? And how does God see God? How do you see yourself? How does the world see you? And how does God see you? What do you say is evil? What does the world say is evil? What does God say is evil? Many of us have different perspectives, which impacts our priorities, which then impacts our purpose. And if we're really planning to go to heaven and come back to earth, I think we need to have some cross eyes. So if you would, open your Bibles with me. And I want you to turn to Matthew. And as you're turning to that, the passage we're going to look at first are verses 22 and 23. And for those of you who are tech savvy and you have your electronic devices, I want you to pull down your YouVersion. There's a great Bible app. I see many of you are doing devotionals and things of that nature, and I'm excited about what you're learning and things of that nature. And for those of you who are computer savvy, please follow me on Twitter. I'll have something out there to question you or to challenge you, Monday through Friday at least. And so you can follow me at my handle at Herb Redrick, and I think it's in the bulletin. If not, it's just my name, Herb Redrick, at Herb Redrick. All right, Matthew, the 6th chapter, and let's start at verse 22. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. And if then that darkness, if then the light in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? Look at this now. We want to talk about cross eyes. Many of you, how many of you have ever studied for an eye exam? None of you? All right, well, let me get a couple of people. Let me just get two people. Just come on, I need just two people. Here's what I can tell you. You're going to win something. All right, so let me just get two people. Can I get just two? I can't get two? All right, okay, come on. Oh, he's going to come again. Come on. All right, come on. All right. All right, now let's see here. Now, yeah. Come. All right, just stand right there. Turn around. You got to face the wall right now. Yeah, since you ain't studied for the exam, you didn't study either. All right. Go. This is my faithful assistant here. All right, great. Okay, all right. Turn around. Contestant number one. Who's gonna be number one? Okay, all right. Come on, number one. All right, now sit down here and. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. You can't follow me. You got to stay back here. Here. Now put this over your left eye. No, sit down. No, yeah, go ahead and sit down. Yeah. Now. I don't have my pointer, so I'll use my phone here. Now, let's see how well he does. What letter is that? Okay, he's good. Uh-huh. 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 All right, you did good. All right, give him a round of applause, y'all. Look at. All right. Come on. All right, no, you hang on to that. Okay, too late. Come on, you ran. You just knew you were gonna win, so no, you can hang on. I got one for you. Now you got to take your glasses off. Yeah. You can't tell the doctor what to do. All right, there you go. All right. Can you see me? All right, we'll cover your right eye. Okay, all right. well, we did not rehearse this. All right, what letter we got here? Uh-huh. That's where you. All right. So what does it say right here? All right, give them both a round of applause. All right. Okay, Ted, go ahead. Tell me what it says now. Okay. All right. So let's see here, my brother. There's you for first place, and there you are again, my brother. You got some glasses. Didn't you say you need some? That's what you got. All right. So go ahead on. Let's give him a round of applause. So what was the purpose of that? Just to have fun, or for us to understand the eye? How the eye works, and what you know in here dictates what you see. Many of us never study for an eye exam, but we go in, and if you know anything about the eye, the first layer, if we get the picture of the eye up there, if we've got it, the first thing you have is your cornea, right? Yeah, your cornea. Yeah, that's on the very outside of your eye. You can't see it, but behind it you have your pupil. And light comes into your cornea and hits your pupil, and then from your pupil it goes into your lens, and then to your lens it goes to your retina, and to your retina it goes to your optic nerves, and to your optic nerves it goes into your brain. And your brain then takes that information and sends back forth what you see. And so that's the function of the eye. When Jesus says the lamp of the eye, The eye is the lamp of the body. He is saying now that the light that comes into your eye, he's talking about not just light like this, but information. In our world and in their world, light was talking about information and intelligence and the stuff that comes into your body. And you do that in their day and age was with a lamp. And lamps were very important for their time in order to get light into a place. And he's saying now that your eye is the lamp to your whole entire body, meaning that it affects all of your perceptions, all of your priorities, and all of your purposes. Everything that you have, it comes right through the eye, and it hits the brain, and then the brain calculates what it sees, and then it sends you back a message, and you respond to that. And the question becomes, how do you respond, and what impacts your response? How do you make all of your life decisions? What gives you your perception on all the things you see in our culture, the things you see up here? What makes you angry? What's your position on abortion? How do you feel about death? What about your sexual identity? What about envy, abuse, justice? What is evil? What do you consider jealousy, rage, and suffering? All of that is how you see it, and how you internalize it will determine how you respond. And so he's telling us here that the eye functions that way. In fact, let me see if we got another picture up here. Let's take a look at this other picture here and see. Tell me what you see here. How many, I know some of y'all have seen this before, so don't mess it up for those who haven't. Who can tell me, how many of you see a beautiful woman? Raise your hand. A few of you, raise your hand high. How many of you see an ugly woman? Raise your hand. Raise your hand high. How many don't see anything? How many of you see a beautiful woman again? Okay, all right. How many of you see an ugly woman? How you know she ugly? How many of you see an older woman? Okay, see, All right, now, why is it? Just leave us here now. See, now, why is it that some of us see one thing and some of us see another? We're sitting here looking at the very same picture. Are y'all walking with me here? This is how life is. We can look at the very same thing and come away at two different views and values on what you see. And it had nothing to do with if you were a believer or not, did it? Yes, it did. Yeah, on some things. But on this picture here, it really didn't matter. It just matters how your eye takes that information, throws it back onto your retina, then it goes to your optic nerves, and then it sends it to your brain, and you come back. Now, how many of you see both? See, some of you see both. Yeah, see, some of over here, she tutoring. Now, see, you got right here, over here, you got this, and you got this over here. So some of you can see both. All right? Now, how many of you have seen this before? Yeah, that's why you can see both. Yeah. After a while, you have a chance to study it. So this is how the eye functions. It sends information, and you come back with a perspective on what you see. Is that helping anybody? This is what we're going to be doing all year long, because I would suspect just your being here says that you either believe in God, you're searching for God, you want to have a relationship with Him, you want to know what's right. I believe some of you are here for that reason. Then some of you just didn't have nowhere else to go. So you say, well, I'm just going to go over there today, But for the most of us, we're here searching for something, and we want to be certain about certain things. And so we're going to spend some time digging a little deeper in where we are, because it matters. It matters. In fact, it matters how you spend your time. It affects how you spend your talent. It affects how you spend your treasure. Most of you don't spend your time, talent, or treasure properly enough. Yeah. You just had a chance to show God some love. Some of you didn't. Because we make excuses like, well, I got bills to pay, or I need this for that. That's a perspective that you have. Some of you serve in churches, some of you don't. It's a perspective that you have. Some of you help out in the community, some of you don't. It's a perspective that you have. It's how you set your priorities. Some of you are against what the president does, and some of you are against what the president does. You see, it's all about your perspective. It's like that. Am I right? Okay, all right. So the function of your eye. Your eye is, here's the life advice. Your eye is the entranceway into who you are. Your eyes are the entranceway into who you are. And so when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's all based on what your eye tells you about you, the world around you, how everything comes into existence, where you spend eternity, all of that. That information comes, the brain processes it, and then you make a determination based on that information. So now let's look at the fitness of your eyes. Look what Jesus says here. Now, this passage here was taken out of what we call the Sermon on the Mount, which starts at about chapter 5 and goes through chapter 7 in the book of Matthew. And this passage here is tucked between two passages which we know very well. Very, very rarely do you hear a message on these two verses here. But if you look right above, if you've got your Bibles, if you look right above Matthew 22, where we were, and look at verses 19 through 21, you'll find a passage that most of you either know by heart or know of. And it says there, do not store up for yourself treasures on earth, where moth and venom destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourself treasure in heaven, where moth and venom do not destroy, and thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart is also. Now that passage, we've heard that. Now drop down to verse 24. And then it says there, no one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he'll be devoted to one and despise the other. No one can serve God and money. Now a better word for money is really mammon, because that means any kind of earthly matter or wealth. So money is not really the best translation of that word in the Greek. So right between there now, these verses start talking about your eye. And what it's saying here now is how you look at your treasure and how you spend your time is all impacted by your perception, your purposes, and your priorities. And many of us would argue that none of these things really matter. But the Bible, Jesus is telling you right here, it has a huge impact on everything you do. And this is why we're going to spend time with this year. So this is sort of an introductory to the weeks to come. Next week, we're going to start looking at seeing God through cross eyes, because some of us even have a skewed view of who God is. Even those of us in America. I could ask you a question right now. Don't answer it. I'm going to give you next week to figure it out. How many of you, this is your question for next week, so somebody remind me to have you vote on it. I'm going to give you a week to study. America, this is going to be true or false. America is a Christian nation. True or false? That's just don't answer it now. Just write that down, and you're going to do your work on that. And it's all going to be based on your perception of how you see that and how you understand how the founding fathers formed the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights and all of those things and what they were thinking at the time. They did all those things. And we just touch on that a little bit next week. All right, now, so here he talks about healthy eyes. This word here means single focus, meaning that it is not double vision. You know, a couple of weeks ago we talked about double-minded person. Well, double-minded person, it starts again with the eyes. And here he's saying that your eye is singular in what your perceptions are, what your perspectives are, what your priorities are, and what your purposes are. He's saying that you're single focused. You're not being tossed to and fro, that you're not easily swayed by public opinion, by your friends, by your circumstances, that if you are rooted in something, that you will be able to stand firm regardless of how things look. And he's saying that now that's a healthy eye, that it is sound, it is rooted, and that's the kind of eye you have. And it says your whole body. That word there means all the essence of you, how you think, your mind, body, and soul. Your whole body will be full of light. And light dispels what? Darkness. Yes, light dispels darkness. Your whole body will be filled with it. He's saying it's going to be completely full. But then he flips and says, now, but if your eyes are unhealthy, this means distorted. It means double vision. It means that you can't see well. How many of you have ever had cataracts? Some of you got it right now, right? Yeah, when you get, that's a little cloudy film that gets over the eye that causes you to not be able to see well. Isn't that what they say it is? Yeah. That's a Greek word, cataract. So you just thought you didn't know any Greek. Yeah, and it means cloudy. And so what he's saying here now, if you've got cataracts, spiritual cataracts, that's what most of us have. We need some spiritual eye surgery. We need to be able to see through cross eyes. And so he's saying that if your eyes are unhealthy, look at it, it says part of your body is in darkness. Isn't that what it says? No, look at it. It says your whole body. That means your priorities, your perspective, your purposes, meaning all the decisions you make about life, how you spend your money, how you spend your time, how you spend your talent, how you use your body, what you think. He says it is in darkness. That's a terrible place for your eyesight to be. And oftentimes when we think darkness, we always think the worst of things, like murderers, drug addicts, and all of those kind of things. But a lot of us can be in darkness just on simple things, very simple things. And we don't, just like maybe the stuff you watch on TV. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay, lights. Yeah. The stuff you drink. It's okay, but just don't too much. No help over there. No help over there. How we dress. No help over there. Who we spend intimate time with. Ooh, got a few on that one. How we see our political process. Your position on abortion. Your position on the capital punishment. If you're prejudiced or not. All of that comes through your perception. And then your perspective helps determine your purpose, how you're going to line up on that. Then that dictates your priorities. Go look at your priorities. What he's saying here now, when you have a healthy eye, you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Because if you stay right there and drop all the way down to verse number 33 in that same chapter, that's what he talks about. What you seek. And he gives a great backdrop in verses 25 through 32 when he's talking about worrying. How many of you have ever worried? Yeah, and see, that's a sin. You cannot worry and pray at the same time. Now, he doesn't say don't plan. Some of us will look at that passage and think that we're not supposed to plan. No, that's the farthest thing from the truth. But we're not to worry about those things we have no control over. But we do. You worry about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep. He's saying he dresses the lily of the fields. He feeds the birds of the air. And he says, we're made in his image. Are we not more valuable than those things? And then he goes on to talk about, and we chase after the things that the people of the world chase after, and you work 2 jobs, and you run up credit cards, and you spend all of these resources trying to be like the rest of the world. And he said, but your Father in heaven knows what you have need of. Look at, in fact, Matthew 6:8. This is one of my favorite chapters. I think it's Matthew 6:8 says that your Father knows what you have need of before you ask. Look at that. Just put your eyes on that. Before you ask, he already knows what is it that you need. Then why are you worrying about it? Because you know why? Because you don't have cross eyes. I'm just foolish enough to take that book at his word. That's what we did in boot camp for 3 nights. We came away that we're going to trust this book impeccably, that we believe every word of it, from Genesis 1:1 to Revelation 22:21. All the way to or is it 21:22? It's 22:21, I believe. Look at it, see if the last verse in the Bible is 22:21. Yeah, all the way through and everything in between. Everything in between. And when you see that, then when you start worrying, you just need to go read Matthew 6, the whole chapter. Anytime you start worrying, in fact, you need to memorize verses 25 through 33. That became a life verse for me. Those verses saved me, literally, because I was in a bad place a little over about 30 years ago. And I really was thinking about doing some bad things. It's to the point I wouldn't be standing here. But then the Lord spoke to me and showed me that I just needed to have confidence in who he was and who he is, and not look at my circumstances, but look at the God who's controlling my circumstances. And when my vision started to change, and I started to focus differently and start looking at things through cross eyes and could see the blood of Jesus that God had poured out for me, I was able to start seeing that God loved me because I was created in his image, and all he wants us to do, he wants more than a weekend relationship. He wants us to trust him 24/7, 365. And he's saying you need to have some cross eyes. Are y'all walking with me here? He's saying that the way your eyes are fit, you either have healthy eyes or unhealthy eyes. Your whole body is full of light or your whole body is full of darkness. You can't live in both worlds. That's what that verse 24 is talking about. You can't serve 2 masters. You can't. You can't. I don't care how hard you try. Some of us, we really do, can I talk plain? I tried it. But I was double-minded. I had double vision. I couldn't sell out for God. I couldn't really trust him with the first of everything in my life. With the first moment when I wake up, I give it to him. With the first dollar I get, I give him at least 10%, at least. That's minimum. Because if you're doing less than that and you're stealing from him. And if you've been doing that for 20 years, you're still on training wheels. We need to grow and trust him. And do you not know? Look, statistics show, this is a sidebar. Statistics show, not Christian statistics, secular statistics show that those of us who are generous with our time, talent, and treasure are healthier, we live longer, we have more resources than those of us who are stingy. Say ouch. That's because you don't have, let me hear you. You don't have. How many of you want cross eyes? Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about. So, your perception, here's some life advice. Your perspective, your purpose, and your priorities are determined by the fitness of your eyes. how you see everything. This week, I want you to just look at every decision you make, especially if you make any big ones, and write them down and ask yourself, did that line up with what God would have me to do? That's how you develop cross eyes. You start filtering everything through the Word of God. Not how you feel about it, because there's going to be some stuff, it ain't going to, excuse me, we got company, that it isn't going to feel right. It ain't going to feel good. It's not. It's not going to feel good. But when you read the Bible, nowhere will you see Jesus ever talks about how you feel about it. It's not based on your feelings. How many times have your feelings failed you? Anybody feeling? Here's when I know folks aren't really sound. Forgive me, because I know some of you come to me and you really get ready to make a real big decision, and here's what you say, Pastor, I prayed about it and I read about it and I feel it in my gut. I'm saying that's indigestion. You tell me in the Bible where it says one of the ways to validate your feelings, your decision, is how you feel. Well, I just feel good about it. Pastor, it just feels so good. Don't you know that's one of the weapons that the enemy uses to lead you astray? He works on how things make you feel. Oh, it just feels right. How many of you have ever said it? It just feels right. Come on, be honest with you. Pastor, it just feels so right. But what's the word say? I know, but it feels right. But the Bible says, I know what the Bible says, but I just feel like the Lord is telling me to do this. How? How can his word say one thing, but just because you feel good about it, you do it? Say, I need cross eyes. Yeah. But look at this last thing now. He says, our fate is determined by the health of our eyes. Look what he says now. He says, if then the light within you is darkness. Look at this. This is a paradoxical statement. Look what it says. If the light in you is darkness. What is he talking about? How can light be darkness? See, remember I told you, you look past just the word light. What he's saying is the information and the intellect that is in you is based from a dark perspective. Then how great is that darkness? In other words, if you're basing your decisions about how you spend your time, your talent, and your treasure, what is your perspective is from, your priorities, and your purpose, he says, if that comes from a point of darkness, it's only going to get darker. You see that? He said, look what he said. How great then is that darkness? He's saying you're moving away from that which you ought to, and the more your light is dark, it will just keep getting darker and darker and darker and darker to the point that your fate will be determined, because you will open up your eyes and you will not spend eternity with him. You will spend it in the darkness in which you have been thinking. I hope y'all come back next week. Seriously. This has been weighing on me since June of last year. This is how heavy it has been. Because I've been watching more things through cross eyes, and it's getting lonely. Because I see some pain that we're participating in, but we don't feel it. We become numb to it. The things we see out in the world, can I just talk plain? Just look at how we watch the news now. You can hear that someone died on the interstate, and then the next thing they're telling you what the weather is. it just becomes so trivialized. Just look at it. I mean, they can show you something real heinous and then switch to a commercial and come back and start talking about something else, and we haven't been moved one bit. Why? The Bible tells us over in 1 Timothy, I believe it is, it says the time will come when our hearing will become dull. I hope we're not there yet. I hope that there's still time. Because just right here in this room, we've got enough people that if all of us had some spiritual eye surgery and we got cross eyes, and if you want a pair, if you don't have a pair and you want a pair, I think they've got some out there. And where are the two winners? Let me see your bag right quick. I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I'm repossessing your gift. Yeah, let me have it right quick. Thank you, sir. You don't get this back. I was just kidding you. Yeah, thank you. I won't. No, you can keep yours. You're real good. Yeah, you're real good. Yeah. You need your glasses. And also, we've got some cross-eyed T-shirts. Yeah, I think they've got some of those out there. Let me see who I can throw this to. Y'all ready? Okay, all right. And you can get those as well. But let's develop cross eyes in 2019 and watch what difference we can make, not only in our community. Let me draw even closer, in your home. How many of you want more peace? I don't care if you got good peace. How many of you could like some more peace in your home? How many of you like more love in your home? More compassion, more kindness, more gentleness. You can get it with cross eyes. You can get more peace, which surpasses all understanding, right here in the church. Then we can spread out into the community. Then we can go all across the world. What's our mission? To connect all people to Christ and his community, so that our vision can be realized. This is it, our vision, to see souls radically change by Christ, for Christ, locally and globally, starting with each of us. We each can be radically changed. And all we need to do is develop some cross eyes. Amen. Amen. If you would stand on your feet.
I hope you enjoyed the message today. And just as we promised you earlier, I hope that it was allowed you to get connected to Christ and his community, where you can be radically changed for Christ, by Christ. Now, we would like for you to stay in touch with us, so please follow the web address on the bottom of the screen here. Go out to our website so you can connect more with us. Also, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you like what we're doing at First, support us financially. And you can also do that by hitting our giving link. We thank you so very much. And again, I'm Herb Redrick, Senior Pastor at First Missionary Baptist Church. When you're in the area, stop by and see us. Bye-bye.